Hi, my name is Tom Dupuis, and if you have a slow WordPress website, I'm going to show you how to make it load faster. You'll see that I optimized this website to load from 7.32 seconds to the new page load time, which is 1 second. And I used all the tips outlined in this tutorial to do that. So you can find that tutorial here. I have the 15 steps right here. And then I have all the tools you need listed along with links to those tools. I'll start with gtmetrics.com, and if you click that link, you'll see a spot where you can run your website. So just go to your home page, copy the URL, and enter your website here. GTmetrix will give you your current page load time, and it'll also give you recommendations on how to improve your site speed, but it's not specific to WordPress, so you're still going to want to follow my tutorial because it has specific things like WordPress speed plugins. So you can see I have a page load time of 1.32, and I would not really pay attention to your scores because the main thing you want to look at is your page load time, as well as the page speed recommendations and the why slow recommendations. Now that you have your GTmetrix report, you are going to want to go back, and the second thing to do is back up your website. So just log in. I use the Updraft Backup plugin. So you can just click that link, copy and paste this, then go into your plugins menu, add new, search plugins, paste it. I already have it installed, but this is the one. So once it's installed, then you can go on the left on the settings menu and go to Updraft Plus Backups. And you're going to want to take a backup right here. You can also schedule backups in the settings menu on a weekly basis or any of these options. And I would suggest that you also make sure you back up plugins, themes, uploads. Once you have your website backed up, you can exit out. Keep your GTmetrix report open though. And the first thing you want to do to make sure your website loads fast is get a good hosting provider and a good WordPress theme. So it's these three things right here that I'm referring to. If you have a slow hosting provider, you're always going to have a slow website. I recommend WP Engine. You can see what migrating their website can do. This is the response time, and it basically cut in half. So even if you follow this whole tutorial but you still have slow hosting, then you still might have a slow website. So WP Engine is managed WordPress hosting, and it's $29 a month. But for the time, the speed, and all the benefits you get out of $1 a day hosting, it's definitely worth it. So if you click that link, it'll take you right to the plans. And personal is usually enough for most people for 25,000 visitors or less. And you can also take a look at the other options right here. To make things a little easier, if you don't want to migrate hosting yourself, you can pay fantastic $99 to migrate your hosting for you. And all you need to do is type in your website, get started, and enter in your information right here and select your options and go through the checkout. Once you've purchased hosting from WP Engine and you send your information over to Fantastic, then go back to my blog tutorial. And the next thing I recommend is using a lightweight WordPress theme. A lot of themes out there that come with a ton of options, like theme options and shortcodes and other features, are just added code to your website and can really slow down your load times. If you click this link, these are 25 themes that I recommend. They're all built in the Genesis framework, which is used by the head of spam at Google, Matt Cutts, and Joost Vok. All these themes are SEO friendly via the Genesis framework. They have fast load times, HTML5 responsive design, and they have good security. I prefer to use the themes from StudioPress just because most of them are lightweight and they're very well designed. So go ahead and check out this blog tutorial and look at some of these themes. I categorize the themes by industry, so that should help you find a nice theme if you decide to migrate, but it definitely does affect your website speed. Next, I'm going to cover installing a cache plugin. I like W3 Total Cache, and it is free. So just copy this, and we'll log into the WordPress dashboard. Go to Plugins, Add New, and paste W3 Total Cache. I already have this installed, but go ahead and install it. And then on the left, you'll notice a performance option. Go to the general settings. And now you can use my settings to configure your W3 Total Cache. So there's a few things I do want to go over. If W3 Total Cache is giving your website some problems, then you may want to deselect the minify option as well as the object cache. I will also cover CDN a little bit in this tutorial and show you how to set it up, but for now just leave it unchecked and save your settings. I'll scroll all the way down so you can see them. Now that we have W3 Total Cache installed, we can go to the next one. If you click this tool, the P3 Plugin Performance Profiler, we can copy that and then go back to our dashboard. Should have just left that open. But go ahead and install this plugin. What this is going to do, it's going to show you large WordPress plugins on your website. So if you have too many plugins, or if you have one really large plugin, that can slow your WordPress site down. I already have this installed. So once you do, go to Installed Plugins. Look for the P3 and go to Scan Now. Then click Start Scan, Auto Scan. So while this is scanning, I'll give you a few recommendations on using plugins. Try to keep it minimal and don't use a plugin unless you really need to. When you do find large plugins using P3, then you may want to either delete them or you may consider finding an alternative. So that alternative can be a different plugin that doesn't load as slow, or it can also be code. For example, if you're using a plugin for a Twitter widget, instead of using a plugin, you can just use the regular Twitter widget. Same thing for Facebook and other things plugins do, but you really don't need them to do. Just a little bit longer. Hopefully yours is running in the background too. Once you have your results, you can view your largest plugins right here. WordPress SEO, Widget Logic. I've already gone through all my plugins, but you may see some here that you might want to delete or replace with another plugin or code, like I mentioned. Once you're done with that, then you can go ahead and delete the P3 plugin. And now we're going to move on to optimizing images. So the first and easiest thing to do is install the Yahoo Smush It plugin. Go to Plugins, Add New. Yahoo Smush.it. Install the plugin, and then you will see under Media there's an option for Bulk Smush It. There's a button right here that says Run all my images through WP Smush It right now, and it does losslessly compress the images, which means they won't lose quality. There's also an option under Settings, Media, where you can have this plugin smush images as they're uploaded to WordPress, and that option is right here. Now once you're done with that, you want to go back to your GT metrics and go to your page speed tab. And if you search for images, you'll see there's 3 sections that relate to images that are all high priority: serve scaled images, optimize images, and specify image dimensions. We're going to look at the optimize images tab. You'll see all the images here on that page that aren't optimized, but you can also click this right here to see the optimized version. So you can go ahead and save those images. And I'll just label this as contact. I'll go back in my WordPress dashboard, and since I ran my home page through GT metrics, this is only going to show me the images on my home page. So that contact button is, since I have a widgetized home page, it's going to be in my widgets section. But first I'm going to upload it to WordPress. I'll just do that. And keep in mind that because it only shows you the optimized version for individual pages, you're going to want to do this for your most important pages. So that means you'll have to run those important pages through GT metrics if you want all your images fully optimized. So I'm going to copy the image right here. I'm going to go into where that image is, which is in the contact section. And then I'm going to replace it with the old version. So now I have the optimized version. And the other thing you want to do is make sure that your images are scaled. So you'll see this one has the width are not scaled. The images need to have their dimensions specified. So this one specifies the image dimensions of a 65 width and 65 height. Usually if you use the main content editor in WordPress, WordPress will automatically specify image dimensions. But for images on your footer or widgets or in your editor, you usually need to specify those manually. So you can just follow this format, just make sure you replace the width and height. And you can see any images that aren't properly specified by clicking this tab. GT metrics will also show you the correct dimensions of those images. I don't have any here, but if you do have any, they'll show you the dimensions. Now we can move on to a content delivery network. And what this does is it's really good for if you have national or global visitors. So say your server is in Florida, but you're getting a visitor from New York. That content on your website takes a long time to travel from Florida to New York. So what a content delivery network does is it's a network of servers, and it uses the closest server to deliver content to that visitor. So if you do have national or global visitors, I would suggest a content delivery network. And if you click this link here, it uses my Max CDN coupon to get a discount off your plan. So go ahead and sign up. Fill out the information, and you can remove this right here, since I don't think Asia and Australia is necessary. You'll get the most bang for your buck if you just do the regular content delivery network. Once you go ahead and sign up and log in, we're going to have to do a couple things here. The first thing is to create a poll zone. Just click zones at the top and create a poll zone. We can just put whatever label you want here and do the same thing there. The origin server URL is going to be our home page. Go ahead and create that. I already have a poll zone, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel and open up the one that already exists. Now right click on account and open link in a new tab. Scroll down and go to the API section and click view all. Create application. And this can just be the same thing, any label you want. And you don't need an application or callback URL. So go ahead and register the application. I already have one again, so I'm just going to go ahead and open up mine. And now you have the two tabs that you need to set up your content delivery network. We're going to have to integrate this with W3 Total Cache, which is also pretty easy. So if you click on Performance and go to General Settings, scroll down, and if you're using a content delivery network, you want to disable database cache, and you want to enable the CDN. And scroll down to Max CDN and hit Save. After that, go to the CDN option right here. And make sure your settings are the same as mine. Leave this unchecked. Now we're going to enter our authorization key, which consists of three things, which you can find right here. The alias, I think it's called, which is online media. So we'll put online media right here. Then you just put a plus, and then the key, which would be the consumer key. Go ahead and paste that right here. And then put another plus, and then this will be the secret, which is the consumer secret. And then paste that there. Go ahead and validate it. It says the key is valid. We already created a poll zone. And now in this field, this will be the CDN URL right here. So once you have that information, you can go ahead and test it if you like, and then save all settings. Now you have a CDN on your site. The next and final tool is the database optimization plugin. It's called WP Optimize, and just like the other plugins that we've been installing, we're going to do another one. Go ahead and add the WP Optimize plugin, and when you do, you're going to see a tab on the left. So what WP Optimize does is delete unnecessary files from your site, like post revisions or emptying the trash or removing spam comments. I prefer only to select these three because I want to see unapproved comments, and I've also read on forums that checking this can cause issues. So I would just stick with these three. Make sure if you use post revisions, you can deselect this, but over time these can add up and cloud your database a little bit. So when you do that, just hit process, and I already did this, so you can see I barely have anything. That might take a few minutes. So after you do that, you can also schedule WP Optimize to run automatically every week, other week, month. And just leave the settings as is. Now I do have a few other tips. Use a Google map in your footer, because that adds a Google map on every single page and post on your website. And a Google map does take a long time to load, so if you're going to use one, I suggest you embed it on your contact page or wherever it makes sense, but don't use it in your footer where it's located on every single page and post on your site. You can minimize sidebar widgets. Static HTML widgets are usually okay, but if you're using widgets that involve a lot of plugins, that can significantly slow down your site. You can also try reducing individual page size. So one example of this would be to run your different pages through GTmetrix and look at the images that aren't optimized on those individual pages. And a few things you can do to reduce the page size is obviously to not make it so long, or you can reduce the amount of videos or images on a page. And for example, take my blog for example. Instead of displaying 10 blog posts, you can only display 5, and that just shortens the content length. And if you do show blog posts, make sure they don't show the full content. These are called excerpts, and they're summaries of your content. So this is a lot better than displaying the whole content where it will take a long time to load. Finally, update your WordPress core, theme, and plugins. And you can do that right here. Go to Dashboard, Updates. And here you'll just see the option to, if you need to update to the newest version of WordPress, it'll be up here. You can update your plugins and your themes and just make sure everything is current. So when you're done with that, you can go back to GT metrics and rerun your website, and it should be a lot better, especially if you've done the core things. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, leave me a comment and I'll be glad to answer it. And if you are still having issues with your website speed, I do provide it as a service, so you can either leave me a comment below or hit the contact button at the top. Thank you.